What if the story you were born into wasn't the whole story? Join us as Sharon Lee Williams opens up about growing up in the foster care system, healing generational wounds, and reclaiming her identity in a world that told her she wasn't enough, that she needed to be strong, never soft, that she couldn't tap into her true worth. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Secret Formula of Femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Montero, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself.
Like the music.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, back to the Secret Formula of Femininity. I'm your host and guide, Dr. Nicole, helping you to tap into your feminine essence. And today we have a powerhouse woman, a powerhouse of a topic, an episode, and I can't wait to dig in. So join me in welcoming Sharon Lee Williams. We had a great chat, and I just can't wait for the audience to hear your story and the work that you do. Welcome.
Mm, Welcome. Thank you. I am happy to be here, Nicole. I'm happy to see you. Thank you for,
Yes.
thank you so much. Appreciate
So
it.
tell us about you. I don't like to just go and
Yeah.
read bios. I want people to hear the story. You have a powerful story and work that you do. So, can you share a bit about your journey, especially your experience with uh, yourself being in the foster care system and with helping others through adoption and what do you call it? Families being raised
Raise
outside.
so the show itself is
Hmm.
called Outraised Voices,
Hmm.
and for people raised outside their family of origin, even culture or country
Yes.
of origin, and it all began in wanting to give back because I'm a child. I was a child in care. Now I now call myself, by the way, vintage because I'm 75 years old. So
We gotta talk
learning.
skincare first of all. You look amazing, but go ahead.
But thank you. But you know, in 1949, when my mother chose to give me up as a baby because she couldn't. Here's this single black woman who came to another country. She was from Bermuda. She arrived in Montreal, went to study bookkeeping, fell in love,
Mm.
and we know the story. Fell in love, and he promised to marry her, yada da da da. And that happens today, and he didn't.
Yes.
Subsequently, she said, I can't take care of this child. And there wasn't the support system for sure back then in 49. And she chose to give me up. So I ended up in care from the time I was a baby. And I couldn't tell you exactly if it was days or because I never got to know that, even though I got to meet her um, until aged out, is what they call it, or
Okay.
grew out of care at 16 or something
Mm.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I've been trying to find a way to give back and to bring this journey that I know so many of us go through. And also, people are interested in being foster parents or adoptive parents, and also, and to our guests who come on the show talk about their journeys, their
Mhm.
struggles, and their where they are now. And they're adults. I started off wanting to create a show for young people,
Mhm.
but young people don't want to come on the show and talk
Oh.
about this journey yet because it's
They're
a
still
struggle.
in it. Like
Yeah, they're
it's
still in it,
uh-huh.
but I know they're hearing it.
Mhm.
They are hearing it and they're watching it. I hear. So that is how this all began, and yeah,
Wow. So were you raised in Montreal or cuz your
I
mom
was
went here?
born and raised in Montreal.
Uh-huh.
Born and raised in Montreal, and no,
Yeah.
my French isn't all that good. It used to be really good, but
Well, my daughter went there. She, by the way, just went to France because she goes to a French immersion school. So she would
oh,
love to hear about like, oh, she loves Montreal, as she
Montreal,
said.
Montreal. That is awesome. So,
Yeah. So you describe yourself as going through the foster care system. What is the difference between that and adoption? Uh, or is it just a technical difference, or what do you? How do you explain that to people?
when you're in the foster care
Mhm.
system, you can go, like, there's some foster children who go to multiple homes.
Mhm.
As an adoptee, a family chooses to say, I want this child, or I'm looking for a specific type of child. So you get to take their name, or, yeah, you become a family member. Not that you can't be as
Mhm.
a foster child, because I feel like I had a family, but some people choose to take that next step, which is to say, I want to adopt this child who has
Yes.
been in my home, who I've loved, and because some children can stay there for 2 years. Imagine having a baby in your house and growing to love it, and then the system
Time.
says, "Okay,
Mhm.
time, time. We have to
Yeah.
take this baby out," and that's the hardest part. When I when I've spoken to foster parents, that's the hardest part. Saying, "Oh,
Mhm.
what? My baby's going to be removed," but you learn. I mean, you love them for the time you can love them, and learning to let go, because nowadays they want children in the foster care system to be back with their
Mm.
original parent,
Yes.
biological parent,
Okay.
if that is possible, you know.
Yes. So, when you tell us a little more about your experience, so you talk about aging out. So, there's a
Hmm.
certain age where the system considers, like, okay, it's time to be on your own, or we're not helping you as much. Is that what
um,
happened with you?
well, I aged out and I ran away. That
Mm.
was the second home that I was in, like second major home as a teenager. That I ran away from there, and I ended up. I'm always somewhere between 15 and 16,
Okay.
and I ended up working at a summer camp for the Children's Aid, which at that time was called the Red Feather Society. I worked at the summer camp with children who came from broken homes. Now, I
Mhm.
wasn't a counselor. I was actually I'm going to say, sous chef.
Oh,
I made
okay.
I made pancakes. I made
Okay.
and eggs for these children, or
Mhm.
gave them breakfast. But that awareness of seeing these children, like on Sundays, they would have
Mhm.
parent and family days, and the parents, we knew that that day was going to be hardest for these children,
Mhm.
because it was either parents or whoever. Different parents would come, some wouldn't come, and
Mhm.
these children were no more than about 11, up to 11 years of age,
Mhm.
6 to 11, I can't really remember, but really young. So when these parents would show up, these kids, they wanted to go home.
Yeah.
And so when these parents or family members or friends or whoever showed up, these kids would go crazy when they left. Like, really, we had instances where some would throw feces on the walls.
Mm.
But looking at them, I said, they are me. They are me.
You
You know,
understood the
like,
feelings and the emotions and what they
yes,
were going through.
yes. It took me out of my own victimhood at the time.
Mm. Mhm. What were you feeling? What was your sense of victimhood when you ran away and ended up working there?
I just that I was told that I wasn't going to amount. I was never going to amount to
Mm.
anything. I was either going to be a prostitute, or I was
Mm.
going to be a cleaning lady, or I was not going to. Nobody was going to want me. I'm never going to better myself, and I believed it. I believed it, that
Mhm.
what am I going to do? I'm not going to be anything. So when I ran away from also
The
doing this summer camp, I ran away from that and hitchhiked and took a you know hitchhike downtown, and almost got into trouble because the person I hitchhiked with, he was a bus driver who was coming in to pick up American tourists who were
Mm.
going back to the States. And so he was just returning to pick, and he picked me up and he brought me downtown, and we got to like this motel, and he asked me if I wanted to come in. Now, I wasn't an idiot.
Uh-huh.
You know in yourself, okay, this is different language.
Yes.
And I remember in my head kind of going, well, what do I do? What do I do? But I didn't really have any money. I didn't have a place to stay.
Mm.
And in saying this, I know there's so many, especially young women,
Yes.
who are in that same boat. What do I do? You come out, you age out, now
No
get
one
an
cares.
apartment. No one's there. No one's greeting you. Oh, hey, 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 hey! You
Mm.
graduated from aging
Yeah.
out. Now it's a little better. I mean, they have more systems in place, but um, so I did. I went to this gentleman's motel room, but he was, this is kind of my faith-based thing. I was sitting down at like this table and a kitchen to whatever it was,
Mhm.
and he said to me, "Look, I'm going to take a shower. I'm leaving this $10 or whatever on the table. If you're here when I get back, then so be it." But
He
he
gave you an
wanted,
out.
he gave me an out.
Wow.
He did. And before that, we had talked a lot. He said he had a daughter named Sharon, and it was just, I don't know. God placed him there.
Versus some other
Yeah,
person
who was
who
just
mhm.
ready to.
Yeah.
Uh, and I remember sitting at that table, and it seemed like the longest shower in the world that he was taking. But I took this $10 and I left.
Mm.
But even in the leaving, I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, this person gave me $10. I kind of owe $10 back. I mean, I, that's how that works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're you're not deserving, da 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 da." Before I got to the point that, hey, I don't want to be a victim anymore. I ain't going out like this. That was
Mhm.
before I had that language. It was just, okay, I'm leaving, because either the drag from the the God mindset or whatever was
Yeah.
happening had said, go. And that was my turning point. My turning
That
point.
is so amazing because already at such a young age, I hear the level of inner resilience. And when you left, it was like you left because you knew you deserved better or different.
I don't know if I knew.
Or
I
you,
just
uh-huh.
knew that the voice said, go, Sharon, go,
Mm,
go. You have to go. You don't have to be here.
yeah.
Because I remember talking to myself, is that what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be a prostitute? Or is my other foster mother right? That I'm just going to be a prostitute. I'm not
Yeah.
going to amount to anything. The chatter that goes on, but the other voice was stronger. And I think you're right. There was the voice of resilience that
Mm,
doesn't know that yet.
yeah. Yeah.
That voice
It's
said, no,
just there. It's not like a clear, like
it's not
fully
clear.
formed. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
reminds me of one of my favorite movies is Antoine Fisher. And
Yeah.
yeah, with Denzel, but I forgot the young guy who was the main character, but it's a true story. But he had a really bad set of foster parents who did a lot of verbal abuse. And as we know, verbal abuse is so like it can stay with you.
Longer.
Right?
That's
So what were
longer
some of
than
the
the
things, yeah, that you had to unpack from the things you were told? How did you even like it sounds like it really affected your self-worth.
well, I came out with very little self-worth, but somehow after that day, I don't know how it happened. I know that um child services, I somehow I phoned them. I don't know when, I don't,
Mm.
but I phoned my social worker or whatever at the time, and I was able, I wanted to either be a court stenographer or something else. So I said, they said they would give me half the money to study. So
Mm.
I'm leaping, but after that
Yeah.
but um, so they gave me half the money, and I ended up being a key punch operator. And you all are going, huh?
Tell us about that. Yes.
Yeah, I ended up studying key punch. Well, that's
Uh,
like the big, and they
of being a
back then
stenographer.
they had these big computer
Mm.
rooms, and you had the programmers would come down, and then the key punch operator would punch in these cards, and the cards would be used to feed the computer. So yeah, that's what happened. But
Yeah.
before I got to all that, before, I tried other things, and honestly, I feel blessed that somehow, and I'm going to say men
Mhm.
pulled me out and said, "No, you can't." I didn't have the money.
Mm.
And they said, "No, you can't be that. No, no, no. You're
Like they
better."
closed the door. Oh, to say no. Don't.
Just Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I dealt with pimps, I dealt with
Mm.
all kinds of people, and they said, "No." They wouldn't let me. I said, "I just let me, I just need." No, you go
Yeah.
out there, da da da. That honestly, I tell people that, and they go, "What?" Now, these same guys might have been very cruel to other young women,
Yeah.
but how I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an
They,
important part of the story because you hear that with, I hear that from male athletes who may have grown up in really tough environments, and they'll say, like, the drug dealers, the gangsters, the pimps wouldn't let them get involved. They're like, no, you're going to college basketball. Like, you're going to get out of this. So it's an
that,
interesting way that people don't want to always have others be in that low place.
yes, their
Mm.
give back, whether it's one time or four times, there's a give back somewhere deep in us that says, okay, we have to. We're well. It says that the human race isn't always horrible at times,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have part of us that we can let out and does come out from time to time. So
yeah,
I appreciate these men.
yeah, yeah. So how did you so then what happened? Like, we're on the edge of our seats. So, like, when did you kind of blossom into and let me just pause for those who are listening. Please go see the video. Sharon Lee is a beautiful woman. Inside, of course, but outside. And I think that just speaks to like how you've just made so much of your life experience is really fascinating. But what
Mhm.
is the next, like, how did you kind of maintain that part of you that was like, I'm going to be something? I'm not going to just, you know, follow the voices that say I'm nothing.
Mhm. Again, that is in the rear view mirror because I can say that I didn't have the language, but
Mm.
somehow I kept stepping, and I ended up in show business. That's really what happened. I think I was 19 or something like that, 18 or 19. I ended up in show business. And that's where I had been for like 50 years. I
Mm.
did, a lot of session work, I did
Yeah.
TV, I had recordings, all of that. And even during that time, it wasn't like I was like feeling, hey, I'm all that. I
Mhm.
was still working through I'm okay,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so I still struggled with that, but there is that resilience, especially I think as a Black woman, when you're carrying so much of the load on you. And I
Mhm.
love I'm just going to bring in the femininity here. Like you
Yes.
carry this load on you and this resilience, and resilience looks like I have to shut down. And you forget that being feminine is about your beauty, about not
Mhm.
inside and out, and no one can give you that or take that away from you. And
Yeah.
that that's the work. But carrying so much, you just feel, it doesn't allow you to be vulnerable when you're young, and you got
Mhm.
like, I gotta be strong, I gotta wear my armor, I gotta be all
Yeah.
this. So um yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, you speak to the aspect of femininity that I really want to emphasize because I hear people talking about, the men won't let us be feminine and this and that. And I get it, right? Because
Mhm.
it's an interplay. But femininity is for us, whether you were to ever partner or not, or whatever the case may be, it's about you tapping into your vulnerable side, your softer side, opening up so that you're not just in this space of being hard and having the armor. And like, it sounds like you, like, once again, always wanted more than just one thing for yourself. Like, you knew you had to survive, but you wanted
Yeah.
to thrive.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And again, not having the language, but just knowing, there's an inner knowing that says, I want to be more, like you're saying, I want to be more. But I wasn't thinking about femininity. It
Mhm.
was, and especially when you're young and men are looking at you in a different way, right? So I was
Mm.
kind of a cute young woman.
Kind of.
And,
I know you were a head turner,
but,
but you
you,
didn't know it, right? Uh-huh.
yeah, I was depending
Mhm.
on the reflection
Yeah.
from men to say, oh, I like you because you look this way, or
Mhm.
whatever the heck it is. And if they didn't like you, then it's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know, we create the world. If we don't give birth,
Then
feminine
it's like,
womanhood, there ain't no world happening.
yes.
No one, we forget about that. And no disrespect to men, no
Mhm.
disrespect. I'm just saying that we have to hold our own as women, even the woman who gave me up, or the women who gave up
Mm.
children for a better life. We have choices too. We have to empower ourselves. We have to empower ourselves to say,
Yeah.
okay, and it's not easy, and it's every day. And as I said, I'm 75, and it probably took me um, until I was had my child at 39,
Mm. Mhm.
and that was a choice to say, I don't want to bring my baggage and load him up.
Wow. Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
load him up with my baggage. And that's when I really dug into doing whatever you want to call it, self improvement courses, self education, all of that. I really
Mhm.
dug. I wanted it. I wanted his life not to be. I mean, it would be to some degree, but you try to minimize
Yeah.
the
The
baggage.
trauma and baggage. And what did you do? Because I'm really curious, like, was there a point where you, yeah, it sounds like you deliberately looked at what work do I need to do on myself? Was that
Mhm.
therapy? It sounds like a lot of self help. Like, what did you just started picking up books? Like, what did you do to really make the journey, like, uptick the journey even more?
Yeah, I wish I had gone to therapy, but
Mm.
maybe that. But no, I did between books and programs.
Mhm.
Um, I went to self-help programs, defining who you are, why you are, digging into that. But there's also, even though I am spiritual, but I wasn't going and asking the minister how I
Mhm.
could do. But I was very aware of my connection.
Yes, yes. You were spiritually grounded, it sounds like.
I was really, really aware that even though
Mm.
I was screwing up and making mistakes, and that's part of the stuff you have to learn from. There's no one we're not going to escape that journey of challenges, but it's how
Mhm.
you, of course, react to those challenges. So that's what I did a lot of courses, and it's only in the last, I guess, 3 years I became a transformational leader. uh,
Mm. Mhm.
uh, certified in transformational leadership. And yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
just a journey. And I say this being, I love being a woman. I love being Black. I
Yes.
love that I had this journey, all of stuff, because, and I love that I was able to find my way out.
What does that part look like of you being a transformational leader? So is that like that's like you got officially certified, and is that
Mhm.
how does that inform the work that you do?
That is always a good question. But
Mhm.
leadership, I feel with the show, doing Outraised Voices
Yes.
as an interviewer, that's your leadership, guiding people to have their stories to be seen and heard and listened, and
Mhm.
to um, appreciate themselves and their stories, how they're helping others. I'm just a guide. I mean,
Yeah.
leadership, transformational leadership is one thing, but being a guide to
Mhm.
say, hey, it's okay. And I think people come to the show also because I had my own journey
Mhm.
in foster care. So, but all the learning, regardless of what the certificate says,
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
learning that I take away, because there's so much coaching. I mean, I've had um, I was a performance coach. I've been a vocal coach. I've been, as I said, had my own business. I
Mhm.
bought my first home at the age of 31 as a
Wow.
single woman, single woman. And
And
I
I know
said,
that was hard cuz what year would that have been?
yeah,
Like
that was, I think it was 31. It was in 1981 when the interest rates were like, here anyhow, like 18 or 20%. And I
wow.
remember, I tell this story, going to the bank manager, and of course I'm in show business. I,
Mhm.
even though I was making a lot of money at the time, I they would rather have had me make, make $200 a week that we can count on, not
Mm.
make $1,000 here sometimes and da 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 there. And I remember the manager saying, well, it would have been easier if you were married,
Yes.
um, things like, but we knew there was other things beyond that. So I ended up putting more money down in order to secure this mortgage. But
Yeah.
I got it.
And the
But
interest rate you said 18%?
yes,
People
ma'am.
can't fathom that now.
No, now we're going 7. But
6%?
yeah, I assumed a mortgage. I was lucky that a house that I bought, I did assume a mortgage that was lower than that.
Mhm.
Thank goodness. But I remember people was crash and burn everywhere.
Mhm.
Uh, but what that did for my self-esteem was was huge, because
Yeah.
I did,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I look and stand in the house and go, wow, I did that. But in going with that, let me say
Mm.
that the naysayers that came in, I don't know why I'm exposing all this, but
No, this is who were they the people that like we say the haters, the ones who said you couldn't do it or who do you think
what?
you
You
are?
what? Yeah, who do you think
Mm.
you
Yeah.
are? I had a boyfriend who came to visit me, and he said, he knew I'd bought a house. He came into my house. Now he was coming for the weekend,
Mm.
and he started looking through the closets. The reason he was looking through it, because he was felt sure that I had a man who had paid for the
Wow.
house, that I could, and I ended up buying, 3 houses. I'll tell you, all neighbors thought that I had
Some
somebody,
kind of
some kind of
man out there.
man
Uh-huh.
over there that was paying for it, but it wasn't. And I had friends, female and male friends, who
Yeah.
who were waiting for the, like, what? You what?
Waiting for you
Sharon,
to lose it or to
to
just
to
uh-huh.
fail.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
interesting why we do that.
Unhealed people, right?
Unhealed children become unhealed adults.
Yeah, yeah. So
So, and
you
we,
bought you this is such an inspiration because I think, as you said, there are many women in particular, but many people in going through or who recently have gone through some of the things you described, and they need to know that there's a way up, not just a way out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and did you ever, I'm curious, did you ever meet your biological mom or form a
Yeah.
relationship with her?
Well, that had all around the same time that I
Mm.
bought the house, I had met her. Um, because from my foster mom, my first foster mom, who was quite quite old at the time, she said to me, "Before I go, I want you to know that somebody knows who your your biological mother is." I got in touch with her. Now I had moved to Toronto at that time, um, and I had been in LA and all that, but I'd moved to Toronto, and I phoned her, and
Mhm.
I remember one of the first things she said to me, "What do you want?"
Like
Now
as if
I
kind
can
of
understand
defensive? Uh-huh.
defensive because I had to tell her, I said, "You know what? I have, like, I'm, if you want to see me, I have this show on TV every whatever it was. You can
Mm.
see me. I don't need, I'm not on drugs. I had to go through all of that. I wanted her to like me.
Mm. Yeah.
You still, I'm a grown woman with,
Yeah.
and you're still this little girl inside of you is just kind of, please love me, please love
Mhm.
me.
Mhm. I'm not bad. Just like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
good little girl."
yeah, yeah. I'm a
Mhm.
good little girl, and the other part is going, see what you missed out on.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
And I did meet my, she finally told me she didn't want to talk about who my father was, but I
Mm.
finally met him as well. They never lived together.
Yeah.
And a few months later, I discovered that I had a biological sister and that my mother had gone back, I guess, 4 years later and did it all over again with
With
my
your
biological
father?
father. But she kept this child.
Mm.
She kept this child. And who's a friend
Interesting.
of mine now. And
Oh, you all are you have a relationship
very
now?
oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Everybody's passed now. All
Uh-huh.
the biologicals have passed, and foster moms and all that stuff have passed. But my sister's name is Joy, and even
Mm.
that triggered me when I found out her name was Joy, and that my mother had kept her. And then
Yeah.
she only recently, she told me about a year and a half ago, she said, "You know how I got my name? My mother gave me the name Joy from the detergent soap, Joy, dish detergent." And she just named me. But in my mind, Joy,
It was like she's the joy of your
joy,
life. She uh-huh.
the stories you create, the
Yes, yes.
stories that just keep you like that, right?
Stories of unworthiness. Like everything becomes a sign that you truly are unworthy.
Unworthy and
Yeah.
keeps you in that victim stage, and then shows up and you go, oh, well,
Yeah.
you know. So
That is fascinating. So I imagine it took a lot of forgiveness to be where you are right now. Like forgiving your mom, your dad, whoever else, you know.
I forgave myself. That's
Mm.
what it was first. I forgave myself because I used to think I caused my mother so much pain, and this poor woman who had to, 'cause I had to forgive myself for even thinking the way I was thinking, that
Mhm.
I'm not enough, or, I had so many questions that I never asked her.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, did you try to abort me? Because in those days, they were going around the corner and
Mm.
drinking
Back
quids or
alley.
back alley stuff, God only knows. So I thanked her for letting me be in the world.
Mhm.
And forgiveness does not mean you forget. It just means letting go for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Was that
forgive.
how what was that process like? Because we hear that a lot,
Yeah.
and I truly believe in forgiveness, but I think we say it in a way where we don't talk about the process. It's like, "Oh, you just need to forgive and move on."
Oh yeah, no. Mm-mm,
How long did it take
no.
you, or are you even still in that process?
I don't think I'm in the process
Mhm.
because I spent time with both my father and my mother,
Mhm.
understanding them. Um, and I guess because I like who I am. It took me
Mhm.
liking who I am to
Yes.
say, oh, this DNA, maybe this DNA of resilience came from blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and that came from, where did this talent come from? I had to look at who I am now. And
Yes.
they weren't horrible people or anything, you know, they weren't
Yeah.
murder,
Yeah.
something like. So, and where I hear stories from other people, you know, their parents
Mm.
were addicted or something. But I just, I think it's in my nature to do that anyhow, to
Yeah.
just say, well, that was you. I understand whose shoulders she stood on, and my mother. And it always, unfortunately, the mothers carry the brunt of that,
Mm.
the burden of that, because we give life, you know, but we
Yeah.
forget that these men are involved, but the mothers carry the weight.
Mhm. The burden, the
Right?
stigma, the shame.
Oh yeah, the
Mhm.
shame, the guilt, the this, the that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What did you learn about your father that surprised you?
Um, hmm. I liked him,
Mm.
but dang, if he didn't have a bunch of kids, with never got married and had kids.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
But the other part of me goes, okay, this was not a rapist. And I say, women, listen, choice.
Mm.
Women lay with him out of love, whatever it was,
Yeah. That's the part
and
that's not talked about a lot, right? Like when a man, I'm assuming he was very charming or there was a
charming.
magnetism, attractive.
Yeah, he was a labor negotiator. He had been in the army when, you know, blah, blah, blah. He served, he'd been in Europe and da, 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 da. The kids
Mm.
affected. But these women, I tell you, when I went to his funeral, I sang at his funeral. I said to someone yesterday, I looked at the back of the room and there were a bunch of women with broad hats, you know, as we say.
What?
The broad,
Yeah.
they were all in the back wailing. I said, wow.
So he really there was a what was one of the older singers had like it was a movie about that. He had like 4 families. I forgot the name. One of the not James Brown, but like a soul singer, but they portrayed like how he had all these women and it all blew up at the funeral
Oh, is
because there
that?
were all these
Oh,
families.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it
But
was
you
funny
liked
to.
him.
Yeah, I did.
Mhm.
I actually liked him more than I liked my mother. But that's
Mhm.
woman to woman. That's
Yes.
the guilt. That's the shame. That's did it,
Mhm.
so on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting dynamic. I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I see a lot just in the work that I do, where, like for the men, it'll be more kind of forgiveness sometimes of the mother, but a lot of anger towards the father. And then for women, it's kind of like there's a loss of the father, but our anger goes towards the mother. So it's that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
dynamic. Mhm.
Yeah. Especially if you are you become a mother and you carry
Mhm.
this child. How could you have given up your child? But there are reasons, many reasons why
Yeah.
they do that. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but
So what if how do you help because you have fostered as a foster mother and you also help people through your oh, you haven't.
have
Why did I
well, that's an interesting
Okay.
conversation.
Uh-huh.
I thought about it years ago,
Mhm.
but I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a foster mom because I felt I couldn't see I couldn't
Give like not
I
keep
I
your
just felt I couldn't see that. I
mm.
felt that I would be triggered. And I've talked to foster kids who have been through that and I said, "Have you become a foster parent?" And the majority have not.
Interesting cuz there's something that would be I think that's such a mature choice to know
Mhm.
when you are like, "Wait, this is not how I can help."
Yeah, I get it's not how I can help. I felt guilty
Mm.
about it for years. Why don't I, you know, foster a child? Or I could pay or, you know, give to the children's aid or give to this, but to actually bring a child into my home, like a foster child into my
Yeah.
home, I just knew just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't, I couldn't find the, not the love, but I couldn't find something in me. I don't know if I would bring them back. I don't know what it was.
Mhm.
On
Mhm.
was
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't do
But
it.
you give back in so many ways. When did you start your show? And tell
I
us.
started in July of 24, and
Okay.
for that I started writing a book,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm just finishing up. It's taken me a long time, called Outraised: Finding My Voice Beyond Foster Care.
Cute.
And yeah, I I've done a lot. I'll be doing a workshop
Mm-hmm.
sometime in the fall. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So, what narratives did you have to rewrite for yourself that I imagine, like when you're talking on your show or consulting with people, you're helping other people to rewrite their narrative? But
Mhm.
what did you, because we hear you talk about the voices, the unworthiness, the negative voices. What new narratives did you have to create for yourself?
What new narratives? I don't know. I don't even know. Because
Mm.
I just keep stepping in life. With
Mm-hmm.
not having my voice, I also used that's how I made my living, with my voice.
Singing and
Singing
coaching.
and
Uh-huh.
voiceovers, and that's how my voice came out. It's just so interesting. Sometimes I look at myself and go, "Oh, you got choked up about who you were, but
Mm.
you I was able to put it out." And so many artists have been through kinship care or some kind of care.
Mm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
able to express that, whether you're actor, that whole like expression of becoming. I don't know if it's another person, but it's
Yeah.
like there's a freedom in going, being
It,
out there on stage. There's a different kind of a freedom than
mm-hmm.
choked up about. I don't have to tell you about who I am.
Yeah.
You don't have to know me. Here's my voice. Here's my presentation. Here's my gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know if you know it as a gift, but you just know that. You
Yeah, that this is what you can do. Yeah. You're
know,
so right. So many of our most talented and gifted artists and performers and writers have
through it.
been
Oh,
through this kind of deeper level trauma.
oh yeah. Just
Mm.
Google it, and you'll just be shocked. I mean, I'm not shocked, but you
Mhm.
would be shocked. I
Yeah.
mean, even if you talk about Oprah, I mean, going through
And I
it
think
just
she was pregnant at a young age, right? Was but
exactly.
mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two
And
so
then reconnected with the sister and mother. And I mean, a lot of people go through kinship care meaning that you go with a family member. Um, and then there's a lot of, I've spoken with people who've had interracial uh, adoptions or things
mhm.
like that. The difficulties of that,
Yes.
yes,
Identity
I love
comes
my
into place. Uh-huh.
yes, something I hadn't really, I was always curious about, and that's why I had these guests who said, "Oh yeah, I love my adoptive family, but
Mhm.
they didn't know about my Asian roots or my black roots or my this or that." So
Yeah, yeah. Everything down to hair or certain, you know, learning to
y-
love your features. Like there's so many subtle things through raising a child that can be
yeah,
hard. Mhm.
yeah, even your own child, your
Mhm. Yeah.
biological child, it ain't easy being in the world, but there's a north star. There's a way to look at the light. There's a way the sun comes up. There's a beginning and a middle and choices and love more than hate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You are you. You are beautiful. You deserve to be here.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. What is one decision that you made that when you look back you feel like that just altered like it just impacted my life in such a positive way?
One decision, I would say buying that first house.
Mm. It
Yeah,
just sounds like it really boosted your self-esteem, your
yeah,
confidence, your
yes.
mhm.
I was
Sen-
able to really start working on, okay, you can do this. Well, you can
mhm.
you can do other things too. You can. and you can, what can't you do? Even though I kept it to myself,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
you know, that
And
was a
was
big,
that out of a self-protection? Because I hear this a lot, where, well, you talked about like people were essentially jealous, like waiting for you to fail.
Mhm.
But is keeping it to yourself in your case, was that like just to protect yourself? Was it a fear
Yeah,
of, I don't want them, like, because we're all gonna make mistakes and fall
yes.
down. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. It wasn't so much the falling down. I learned not to tell people things, even though you want to go out and say, "Hey, look at me." I'm not
Uh-huh.
trying to say that you want to do that, and then you realize that not everybody's feeling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That protection of, if I knew the people I could be joyous with,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
celebrate
Yeah.
with.
Your
I just,
intuition helped you to see who those
mhm.
people were. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, because they would react in certain ways, whereas somebody else would be trying to say, "Oh well, blah." And
That's
I
the
try not
thing,
to.
the downplaying, right? Like you do something amazing, like, "Hey guys, I just did a voiceover for such and such." And the
Yes.
person's like, "Oh, well, I had soup for lunch." Like they kind of gloss over it as if it wasn't a big deal.
Yes, and you don't wanna make yourself big because
Mhm.
you think that other people are small. You're shine. You don't wanna shine because you think somehow that that takes off the shine of others, where they should be, wherever they're standing, they should be
Mhm.
shining. But, that still plays a part where I don't get, sometimes I go,
Mm.
let me just keep it a little bit down, because you can see
Yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
you don't need, and I have a feeling you have kept some stuff from us even in this interview, but you have such a spirit of humility. And I think femininity is a beautiful blend of confidence, boldness, and then also knowing when to observe, when to, like, there's a time and place for each of these energies. And doesn't have
Yes.
to be all like completely humble where you never show up, and it doesn't
Mhm,
have to be always front and
mhm.
center. It can be a
And
combination.
there are boundaries that come
Mm,
with
yes.
being feminine, knowing, being all that, and feminine
Yeah.
means a lot of things to different cultures now. So,
Yeah. Yeah. What did you, so tell us about boundaries that you had to learn within, like, just as a woman and with your femininity.
um, boundaries. Well, I learned that when you have when you live with someone, say a boyfriend, don't merge your bank accounts.
Okay. So financial boundaries. Did something happen with your account?
I learned that
Yeah.
early. So don't do that. So that's it. But
Uh-huh.
um my boundaries now, I feel so strong now. It's
Mm.
different now. Going back, if I go through, you know,
Yeah.
the rear view mirror is looking at how far I've come,
Mm. Yeah.
as opposed to, oh, the horrible or this or that or whatever, but
Yeah.
how far I've come. And it yes, it took me a lot of years to get here at 75. It would have been nice to have it at 30, but I didn't have it at 30.
Yeah. You have it
And
when you have it, right?
but when you have it, you
Mhm.
have it. And I like me, I appreciate me, and yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm happy. I live with joy. I
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
do. Or try my best to. It's not every day.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do.
what advice would you give to younger women or just women who aren't yet there, who are
Mhm.
trying to find their joy or their happiness or their self-love? Like, what is something, or what are some things they can do?
I think, when you're going through challenging times, and I'm speaking to youth who are coming out of care, young women especially coming out of care, um, when you're going through those times, just take a moment. And I know I'm saying this now, and
Mhm.
take a breath. Take a breath. It is tough out there, but if you can get to the point that just once a day, look at yourself and say, I am worthy, or I deserve to be here, or whatever words you want to say. Hey, girl, you got
Yeah.
this.
Uh-huh.
Just once a day.
Mhm.
Start with that. And whatever job that you're in that you may not like, know that you're just, that's just here. Just work towards something else. I want to be over there. What does it take? Get information. What does it take to get over there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't hate this. Say, I'm going to move on, but
Mhm.
information, inform yourself. Take responsibility.
Mm.
And I know that's hard to say when you're coming out, but just think about it. Think about it. And find a mentor if you can.
Mm. Yeah. Yes.
Find a mentor if you can. And
I
look at
love
the
that.
people you're hanging around with.
Mm. Are they
All of
are they
that stuff.
bringing you up or down? Are
Hmm.
they, trying to smother your flame or are they helping
That
to
love
fan it?
that. Are they trying to smother your flame?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a lot.
Mhm.
You have to come out and grow into that. So
Yeah.
find help. Nowadays, find help. If you can mentorship or some group or I don't know, something,
Yeah.
find because you are worth it. You are
Yes.
worth it.
Yes. I love that. I think that's a great way for us to transition. Before we end, I have a segment where I like to ask guests just like hot take, quick answer questions.
Oh,
Um, nothing too controversial.
oh.
What would you say? So, one I like to ask for women, favorite skincare routine or secret?
I don't have a secret. I've done everything. I used to do this thing called Snap. I still use Vaseline from time to time.
Mm.
Expensive products, not expensive products, but I clean my face. I would say I
Mhm.
do my face.
Yes, yes.
And but I was gifted when I saw my biological mother. They all have very good skin.
Very
So
nice skin. Okay. So she gave you a great gift.
yes.
Um, favorite place to vacation?
Oh, I don't have a favorite place. I do go to San Diego a lot, but
Mm.
because I have a home there. But I would like to vacation in Paris.
Ooh. I told you I just got the message that my daughter and her classmates they landed in Paris, taking the
Oh,
high speed train to Lyon.
oh,
So
beautiful! I love
yeah.
all that. I love
Yeah.
Paris. I
Mhm.
love Europe. So,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. Um, favorite kind of routine or thing that makes you just feel extra feminine?
Extra feminine. Um, Now there's two things. I work out,
Uh-huh.
so sometimes muscles makes me feel extra feminine.
Ooh,
I
yes.
like muscles, like when I get them, and I don't know, being held.
Mm. Wow, the embrace, huh? And
Mm.
then when you're nice and fit with those muscles, it's even like you feel good about yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice to see that. I'm vintage. Remember, vintage. I'm not old. I'm vintage.
Yes. Well, this is the vintage that we all aspire to. Last one. Something about relationships, romantic relationships that you wish someone had told you sooner.
About romantic. Don't try to dim yourself down in a relationship.
Mm, yes. Yes. Be you.
Be you.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, Sharon Lee, there are so many gems in this. You have such a beautiful spirit, and I appreciate your story, the work that you do. How can people kind of follow you and find out more about what you're doing? Where should they
Well,
look
I
you up?
hope you go to Outraised Voices, and you can
Mhm.
find me on YouTube. I mean, there's a bunch of shows on YouTube.
Mhm.
And I think you're going to have a link at the end.
Yes.
There's, uh,
And we'll be
and
waiting for
hopefully,
your book, right? We'll hear more.
book and
Uh-huh.
music. I forgot to mention I'm doing an album. Stuff goes on. I'm doing stuff.
See,
Keeping
she
keeping on.
downplayed it. Wait, so you have your book coming out in a few months, your album. So when
Mhm.
we put the links, you'll be able to follow everything that Sharon Lee
Yeah.
not only
On.
has done, but what she's ongoing, what she's doing. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
blessing us with your story and just inspiring us. And for all of those women and men, but for women, our listeners who have had to be raised for part of the time outside of your family of origin, which I love that term. Like, I think it's so encompassing, or you had a rough start, or you didn't have the upbringing or parents that you wanted. Just know that life can still be good, can be happy, can be joyous. You can tap into yourself and live fully as a woman, and
Mhm.
the proof is right here. And don't forget, if you want to learn more about my community, my inner circle community, the Boundaries to Bliss Society, for women who are looking to develop healthy boundaries, tap into their feminine energy, and have fulfilling relationships. You can find out more in the show notes, and also my book, The Boundaries to Bliss Blueprint, for women who are finally ready to win at love. Thank you
Mm.
so much for listening and joining us today, and I will see you in the next episode.